The fog clung to the Louisiana bayou like a shroud, thick and unforgiving, as Ethan stumbled through the muck, his wedding tuxedo torn and soaked in brackish water. He gasped for air, his lungs burning from the exertion, but the betrayal burned hotter. His own mother-in-law, the woman who had smiled through the ceremony just hours ago, had driven him here and left him to die. "You'll never be part of this family," her voice echoed in his mind, cold as the swamp that now threatened to swallow him whole. Ethan Crawford had always known love could be a battlefield, but he never imagined it would lead him to this literal quagmire. Growing up in the conservative suburbs of Baton Rouge, he had hidden his sexuality for years, fearing the judgment of a community steeped in tradition. But when he met Jasper Rivera at a local art gallery 3 years ago, everything changed. Jasper, with his easy smile and unyielding optimism, was the son of a prominent Louisiana family. His father a respected judge, his mother, Miriam Rivera, a pillar of high society known for her charity galas and ironclad grip on family reputation. Their relationship blossomed in secret at first, stolen kisses in the shadows of Spanish moss-draped oaks. Ethan, a graphic designer from a modest background, felt like an outsider in Jasper's world, but Jasper's love made him believe he belonged. "We're in this together," Jasper had whispered on the night he proposed. Down on one knee in their small apartment overlooking the Mississippi River, the engagement ring, a simple silver band etched with their initials, symbolized a promise against the odds. Coming out to Jasper's family was the first major hurdle. Judge Rivera, a man of few words but deep convictions, surprised them by offering quiet acceptance. "Love is love," he said gruffly over dinner, though his eyes betrayed a flicker of unease about public perception. Miriam, however, was a different story. Her smile never reached her eyes when Ethan entered the room. "As long as you're discreet," she had said, her voice laced with condescension, as if their relationship was a temporary indulgence. The wedding planning amplified the tensions. Miriam insisted on a grand affair at their family estate, complete with Southern elegance, white tents, jazz bands, and guests from the elite circles. Ethan wanted something intimate, but he compromised for Jasper's sake. Whispers followed him at every fitting and tasting. "Isn't it a bit unconventional?" Or "How progressive of the Riveras." Ethan swallowed his pride, focusing on the joy of marrying the man he loved. But beneath the surface, Miriam's resentment festered. She viewed Ethan as a threat to the family's pristine image, a stain on their legacy. In private, she urged Jasper to reconsider. "He's not one of us, darling. Think about the future, children, inheritance, society." Jasper stood firm, but the strain showed in his furrowed brow. The wedding day arrived under a clear blue sky, the estate buzzing with excitement. Vows were exchanged in a gazebo overlooking the gardens, Ethan's voice steady as he promised forever. The reception was a whirlwind of toasts and dances, but as the night wore on, Miriam pulled Ethan aside. "We need to talk," she said, her face a mask of concern. "Jasper is waiting in the car. It's about the honeymoon surprise." Trusting her, Ethan followed her to the SUV. They drove in silence, the city lights fading into rural darkness. When they reached the edge of the swamp, Miriam stopped. "Get out," she commanded, her eyes gleaming with malice. Confused, Ethan stepped into the mud, only to feel a sharp shove. He tumbled into the water, the vehicle speeding away. "No one will miss you," she called out. Panic surged as Ethan floundered in the deepening water. Alligators lurked nearby, their eyes reflecting the moonlight. He clawed his way to a cypress root, pulling himself up, his mind racing. Why? What secret was she hiding that made her capable of murder? Hours blurred into a nightmare of survival. Ethan trudged through the slime, guided by distant highway lights. Exhausted, he collapsed on the roadside just before dawn, where a passing trucker found him and called for help. In the hospital, bandaged and bruised, Ethan pieced together the horror. The police were skeptical at first. A wedding prank gone wrong? But his determination sparked an investigation. Jasper arrived, horrified, tears streaming as he held Ethan's hand. I can't believe she did this. What have I done? As Ethan recovered, fragments of Miriam's past surfaced in his thoughts. Whispers from family gatherings about her troubled youth, a hushed scandal involving a lost sibling. But now, with his life nearly ended, Ethan vowed to uncover the truth. The swamp had tried to claim him, but he had emerged, ready to fight. The days following were a blur of statements and support. Jasper's father, the judge, used his influence to push the case forward, though guilt weighed on him for not seeing Miriam's darkness sooner. Ethan, however, felt a rift growing. "How could you not know?" he asked Jasper one night in their apartment. The ring still on his finger, but the trust fractured. Jasper paced, his face pale. "She's my mother, Ethan. I thought her disapproval was just old-fashioned. Not this." The investigation revealed Miriam had a history of manipulation. Old friends spoke of her controlling nature, how she had orchestrated her marriage to the judge for status. But deeper digging hinted at something more sinister, a secret from her college days in New Orleans. Ethan, driven by a mix of anger and curiosity, began his own search. He contacted a private investigator, using savings from his freelance work. "Find anything on Miriam Rivera, née Hargrove," he instructed. The first report came back. Miriam had a brother, Elias, who vanished in the 1980s. Official records listed him as a runaway, but rumors suggested foul play. Elias was gay, outed in a time when acceptance was rare. Family lore painted him as the black sheep, but Ethan sensed a cover-up. Confronting Jasper with this, Ethan saw doubt flicker in his husband's eyes. "Mom always said he left for California. Why bring this up now?" "Because she tried to kill me, Jasper. Maybe she did the same to him." The accusation hung heavy, straining their marriage. Jasper defended his mother, citing her community work, while Ethan pushed for justice. Social conflicts erupted. Friends divided, some siding with the progressive couple, others whispering about family loyalty. Ethan's recovery was physical, but the emotional toll mounted. Nightmares of the swamp plagued him, and therapy sessions revealed deep-seated fears of abandonment. "I chose you over everything," he told Jasper during a heated argument. "But did you choose me?" As the story unfolded, Ethan's resolve hardened. He would return to the Rivera estate, not as a victim, but as the one to expose the truth. The swamp had forged him anew, ready for the battles ahead. Weeks turned into months as Ethan delved deeper into Miriam's past, the humid Louisiana air mirroring the stickiness of the secrets he uncovered. Jasper, torn between love and lineage, oscillated between support and skepticism, their once vibrant home now echoing with tense silences. "We need to focus on us," Jasper pleaded one evening over takeout, but Ethan couldn't let go. The attempt on his life demanded answers. The private investigator, a grizzled veteran named Harlan, delivered a bombshell in a dingy Baton Rouge office. "Your mother-in-law's brother, Elias Hargrove, he didn't run away. There's evidence he was last seen arguing with Miriam at a family cabin near the Atchafalaya Basin." Harlan slid over faded photos. A young Miriam, stern-faced, beside a smiling Elias, who bore a striking resemblance to Ethan. Slender build, dark hair, an air of quiet defiance. Ethan's heart raced. "The swamp. It's the same area where she left me." Harlan nodded. Locals remember whispers of a body found, but it was ruled an accident, drowning. No autopsy thanks to family pull. Miriam inherited everything after that. Their parents died soon after in a car crash. Suspicion crystallized into conviction. Miriam had eliminated her brother to hide his sexuality, preserving the family's facade in an era hostile to LGBT individuals. Now, history repeated with Ethan, the unwanted addition threatening her son's future. Confronting this with Jasper led to their biggest fight yet. "You're accusing her of murder? Based on what rumors?" Jasper shouted, slamming the door as he stormed out to stay with friends. Alone, Ethan grappled with isolation. His own family, distant since his coming out, offered little solace. Social media amplified the drama. Anonymous posts labeled him a gold digger stirring trouble. while LGBT advocacy groups rallied, turning their story into a symbol of familial homophobia. Ethan attended support groups in New Orleans, sharing his ordeal anonymously. There, he met others with similar scars, rejected by blood for loving differently. "Choice defines us," one member said. "You chose love. Now choose justice." Inspired, Ethan gathered more evidence. He visited the old Hargrove cabin, now overgrown and abandoned. Inside, amid dust-covered relics, he found a journal Elias's, hidden in a floorboard. Entries detailed Miriam's rage upon discovering his relationship with a man named Tom. "She says I'll ruin us all. Threatens to make me disappear." The journal was Ethan's smoking gun. He photocopied pages, entrusting originals to Harlan. But doubt crept in. Was exposing this worth destroying Jasper's world? Miriam, out on bail for attempted murder, played the victim masterfully. In interviews, she claimed Ethan fabricated the story for attention, portraying herself as a loving mother betrayed by her son's lifestyle choice. Public opinion split. Conservatives decried the attack on family values, while progressives demanded accountability. Judge Rivera, conflicted, recused himself from related cases but privately urged settlement. "Let it go, son," he told Ethan during a tense family meeting. "For Jasper's sake." But Ethan couldn't. "She tried to erase me, just like Elias." The name drop silenced the room. Miriam's face paled, her composure cracking for the first time. "How dare you?" she hissed, but her eyes betrayed fear. Jasper, witnessing this, began to waver. Late-night talks ensued, tears shed over shared memories. "If it's true," Jasper whispered, "I can't forgive her." Their reconciliation was tentative, built on therapy and transparency. Ethan chose to support Jasper's grieving process, even as he prepared for trial. The couple volunteered at LGBT centers, channeling pain into purpose, but societal backlash intensified. Protests outside their home, hate mail invoking traditional marriage. As the trial loomed, Ethan faced a pivotal choice. Use the journal in court, risking family implosion, or seek a plea deal for peace. Logic dictated exposure. Emotion pleaded mercy. Harlan uncovered more. Tom's testimony, now an elderly man in Texas, confirming Miriam's threats. "She drove Elias to the swamp that night," he said in a recorded statement. "I always suspected, but fear kept me silent." Armed with this, Ethan met Miriam privately, arranged through lawyers. In a neutral cafe, she sat rigidly, denying everything. "You're destroying my family," she accused. "No," Ethan replied calmly. "You did that when you pushed Elias and me into the darkness." For a moment, vulnerability flashed in her eyes, a remnant of the sister who once loved her brother before prejudice poisoned her. But she hardened. "You'll regret this." The encounter fueled Ethan's determination. He shared the evidence with prosecutors, escalating the charges to include suspicion of historical foul play. The media frenzy peaked, dubbing it the Swamp Secret Scandal. Jasper stood by him now, their bond tested but stronger. "I choose you," he affirmed, echoing their vows. Yet, as high noon approached, Ethan pondered the cost. Revenge felt hollow. True justice meant healing divides. But with Miriam's secret unraveling, the climax beckoned, promising either redemption or ruin. The courtroom in downtown Baton Rouge hummed with anticipation, reporters jostling for seats as the trial of Miriam Rivera began. Ethan sat beside Jasper, their hands clasped under the table, a silent anchor amid the storm. Miriam, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, avoided their gaze, her lawyer painting her as a misunderstood matriarch victimized by baseless accusations. The prosecution opened strong, detailing the wedding night abduction with Ethan's testimony. He recounted the drive, the shove, the terror of the swamp, his voice steady despite reliving the trauma. Cross-examination was brutal. "Isn't this revenge for her disapproval of your marriage?" the defense sneered. "No," Ethan countered. "It's justice for attempting to murder me, and perhaps others." The bomb dropped when Elias's journal was introduced. Gasps rippled through the gallery as excerpts were read. Miriam's threats, Elias's fear. Tom's video deposition followed, his aged voice trembling but resolute. She said no Hargrove would be a disgrace. Miriam's facade crumbled on the stand. Under questioning, she admitted arguing with Elias but claimed he stormed off, never to return. It was a different time, she defended. Homosexuality was taboo. I was protecting our family. The admission ignited outrage. LGBT activists outside chanted for equality, while conservative groups countered with signs decrying activist judges. Social media exploded, hashtags like Swamp Justice trending, debates raging over generational trauma versus personal accountability. Jasper testified next, his voice breaking as he described discovering Ethan's disappearance. I love my mother, but what she did, it's unforgivable. The jury's sympathetic nods bolstered Ethan's hope. But twists emerged. Defense presented letters from Miriam's therapist, revealing her own repressed trauma. Abusive parents who disowned Elias first, forcing her to choose sides. She internalized the hate, the expert explained. It manifested in extreme actions. Ethan felt a pang of empathy. Was Miriam a villain or a product of her environment? The question haunted him during recesses, as he and Jasper walked the courthouse halls. Does understanding excuse it? Ethan mused. No, Jasper replied, but it complicates forgiveness. Societal conflicts peaked when a leaked audio from Miriam's past surfaced. A college rant against deviance, tying into broader anti-LGBT sentiments in 1980s Louisiana. Protests turned volatile, with clashes between supporters, highlighting America's divided stance on gay rights. Ethan's closing statement was poignant. I didn't choose to be gay, but I chose love. Miriam chose hate twice. We must choose better for our future. The jury deliberated for days, tension mounting. Ethan and Jasper retreated to their apartment, cooking meals together, rediscovering intimacy amid chaos. Whatever happens, Jasper said, we're unbreakable. Verdict day arrived. Guilty on attempted murder, but insufficient evidence for Elias's case. Statute of limitations barred charges. Miriam was sentenced to 15 years, her tearful apology ringing hollow. I was wrong. Forgive me, Jasper. Outside, Ethan faced the press. This isn't just my story. It's about confronting prejudice wherever it hides. But victory felt bittersweet. Jasper grieved his mother's fall, their visits to prison strained. Ethan questioned if exposure healed or harmed. Friends lauded him as a hero, but anonymous threats reminded him of lingering bigotry. In therapy, they explored choices. Ethan chose vulnerability over vengeance. Jasper chose reconciliation with boundaries. They advocated for LGBT youth, turning pain into progress, but debates lingered. Did outing family secrets empower or destroy? As months passed, normalcy crept in. Ethan returned to design work, creating campaigns for equality. Jasper, inspired, pursued law to fight discrimination. Their marriage, forged in fire, deepened. Yet, a final revelation loomed. Harlan called with new info. DNA from swamp remains, exhumed after the trial, matched Elias. Miriam had known, covering it up with bribes. Confronted in prison, she confessed. He wouldn't deny himself. I pushed him. It was an accident. But her eyes said otherwise. Ethan chose not to reopen the case, closure over chaos. Let her live with it, he told Jasper. Their story became a book, sparking national discussions on family, forgiveness, and LGBT rights. But Ethan wondered, in exposing darkness, had he illuminated hope or merely more shadows? Life after the trial settled into a rhythm of cautious optimism for Ethan and Jasper. Their Baton Rouge home a sanctuary amid lingering echoes of scandal. Mornings began with coffee on the balcony, overlooking the river that symbolized their enduring flow. But scars remained, Ethan's occasional panic attacks, triggered by humidity, and Jasper's quiet moments staring at old family photos. Society's response was mixed. Some hailed them as trailblazers, inviting them to speak at pride events in New Orleans. Your story shows resilience, a young attendee told Ethan, eyes shining with hope. Others, entrenched in tradition, boycotted Jasper's law firm, labeling him a family betrayer. These conflicts tested their resolve. At a gala fundraiser, a former friend cornered Ethan. You destroyed a good woman over personal grudges. Where's the Christian forgiveness? Ethan replied evenly, forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting harm. It's about moving forward without hate. The exchange highlighted broader debates. Can one forgive attempted murder rooted in prejudice? LGBT communities split. Some advocated radical exposure of bigots, others promoted dialogue for change. Jasper's prison visits to Miriam became a point of contention. She asks about you, he shared one evening. Says she's reading about gay history in the library. Ethan softened slightly. Change is possible, but trust is earned. A new twist emerged when Miriam's lawyer contacted them. She wants to make amends, donate to LGBT causes, share her story as a cautionary tale. Skeptical, Ethan investigated. Prison records showed Miriam attending therapy groups, confronting her biases. Was it genuine or manipulation? The couple debated late into nights. If we reject her, are we no better? Jasper argued. But accepting risks more pain, Ethan countered. Their choice. A mediated meeting in prison. Miriam, aged by incarceration, spoke haltingly. I was raised to see difference as threat. Elias, panicked. With you, Ethan, history repeated. I'm sorry. Tears flowed, but Ethan probed. Why the swamp both times? It was where I felt safest hiding shame, she admitted. The confession brought catharsis. Ethan chose partial forgiveness, not absolution, but release from bitterness. We'll support your efforts, but from afar. Post-meeting, Jasper and Ethan grew closer, planning a vow renewal intimate on their terms. Invites went to allies, excluding detractors, symbolizing chosen family over blood. But external pressures mounted. A documentary crew approached, wanting to film their journey. It could inspire many, the producer pitched. Ethan hesitated. Relive trauma for public consumption? Jasper supported whatever he decided. They agreed, but with boundaries, no sensationalism. Filming unearthed emotions. Ethan revisiting the swamp, confronting fears. Jasper reflecting on lost innocence. The docuseries aired, igniting controversy. Critics called it exploitative, supporters empowering. Ratings soared, but so did hate, online trolls doxing them, forcing a move to a safer neighborhood. In this turmoil, Ethan questioned his path. Had survival led to unintended consequences, amplifying division? A pivotal moment came at a panel discussion in Washington, D.C., debating LGBT rights in conservative states. Ethan shared, "My story isn't unique. It's a mirror to society's flaws. We must choose empathy over erasure." Applause followed, but a heckler shouted, "You're the one erasing families." The incident sparked soul-searching. Back home, Ethan and Jasper reaffirmed their commitment. "We choose each other every day," Jasper said, pulling him close. As years hinted at passing, anniversaries marked, careers advanced, Ethan pondered legacy. Their advocacy helped pass local anti-discrimination laws, but progress was slow. One evening, sorting old boxes, Ethan found Elias's journal. Flipping through, he realized, by exposing the secret, he honored the uncle he never knew, giving voice to the silenced. Yet doubts lingered. Miriam's reform proved superficial. Reports of her reverting to old views in prison surfaced. Did exposure change her, or merely punish? Ethan chose to focus on positives. Their love, resilient against odds. The lives touched by their story. But as the sun set over the Mississippi, Ethan whispered a final reflection. In the end, choices define us. But do they always lead to redemption? With time, Ethan and Jasper's life evolved into one of purposeful quietude, their advocacy shifting from spotlight to grassroots efforts in Louisiana's LGBT communities. They mentored youth, sharing tales not of drama, but of everyday triumphs over adversity. Love wins through persistence, Ethan often said, his voice carrying the weight of experience. Miriam's influence faded behind bars, her attempts at redemption sporadic and unconvincing. Occasional letters arrived, laced with regret, but Ethan responded sparingly, choosing boundaries over bitterness. Jasper, too, found peace in limited contact, focusing on building a future unshadowed by the past. Societal ripples from their story persisted. Books and podcasts dissected the case, fueling discussions on internalized homophobia and familial duty. In classrooms, it became a case study. How does one balance justice with compassion? Ethan's graphic design firm flourished, specializing in inclusive campaigns. One project, a mural in New Orleans depicting diverse families, earned acclaim, symbolizing hope. Jasper, now a civil rights attorney, won cases for discriminated couples, his passion ignited by personal pain. Their vow renewal, held on a sunny riverbank with close friends, reaffirmed vows amid laughter and tears. Through swamps and secrets, I choose you, Ethan declared, slipping a new band beside the old. But tranquility was tested when a copycat incident emerged. A gay man abandoned in Florida wetlands by in-laws. Media linked it to their story, dubbing Ethan the survivor who inspired change, or copycats? Guilt gnawed. Had publicity encouraged harm? Ethan addressed it in an op-ed. Exposure shines light on darkness, but society must evolve to prevent echoes. The piece sparked debates nationwide, panels arguing if personal stories accelerate progress or invite backlash. In private, Ethan and Jasper navigated these questions. Did we do right? Ethan asked one starlit night. Jasper squeezed his hand. We chose truth. That's enough. As they aged gracefully, adopting a rescue dog and planning travels, Ethan's reflections deepened. The swamp, once a nightmare, became a metaphor for buried truths, necessary to confront for growth. A final twist arrived via Harlan. Untouched evidence suggested Miriam's parents knew of Elias's fate, complicit in the cover-up. But with them deceased, it remained historical footnote. Ethan chose closure, donating the journal to a LGBT history museum. Let it educate, he decided. Their story, now legend, inspired fiction and films, but Ethan emphasized, it's not entertainment, it's real lives. In quiet moments, he pondered the core conflict. Prejudice versus acceptance, choice versus circumstance. The couple hosted dinners for diverse friends, fostering dialogues that bridged divides. One guest, a conservative relative, admitted, "Your story changed my views." Such moments affirmed their path. Yet, as the narrative closed, Ethan posed a lingering query to Jasper, and to the world. Was exposing the secret an act of heroism, or did it merely trade one pain for another? Is revenge ever truly justice, or does it only breed more shadows in the light of forgiveness?